Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Coach Red, where we bring you all the news, stories, takes, and opinions about your favorite teams from the Pacific North, fresh from the good to the bad to the Mariners.
The sweet off-season Mariners, baby.
The offseason starts this week. Free agents are officially done. I think the signing period starts on the 6th. You have to decide on all the options, player and or team by I think the 7th. So it's going to be very interesting. We're going to kind of break down what we at least early off season. We're talk about the pending free agents from the Mariners. Do we think that they'll bring them back? If we do, what do you think that deal looks like? We're going to look at some free agent targets. We're going to look at some potential trade candidates. We held off last week, but we're going full fledged this week. And I'm not going to do any fancy intros because I think there's going to be a lot to talk about in this episode, and I might have a bedtime at some point. So we can't be talking about this all night. So follow me, your boy, Coach Red, on X at the Real Coach Red, on Instagram at the Real underscore Coach Red, TikTok at the Real Coach Red. Also find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and leave a comment or two. My co-host is Kane. Kane, where you at?
You can find me over on Twitter, Kane2406, TikTok, Kane0624. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. Pause. Do it, freaking do it.
So, news coming today. Mariners did not pick up third-year option on Mitch Garver. I don't think there is a path for him to come back to this team, especially
No.
with the emergence of Harry Ford in AAA and them keeping him on the entire playoff roster. I think that was mainly to season him and get him more experience to be ready for the big leagues next year. So we're not going to be
Mm,
talking about Mitch Garver today. I'm going to kind of start with kind of the lower level guys and kind of build our way up. The first guy we're going to talk about is Joe Jackson, pending free agent reliever for your Seattle Mariners. Kane, do you think the Mariners want to bring back old Joe?
I don't think so. Sorry. My new cat Cal jumped up here and pet him. No, I don't think they should bring him back. I'm good.
He didn't get much play, especially when you looked in
He
playoff time. I
also
don't
gave
think
up a lead one time that we had to bring in Mooney late in the season.
a reliever gave up a lead one time, and that's
Yeah,
that's what
he's
you're basing your whole
terrible.
decision on.
He was
Got
not
it.
very good.
You can also tell that he didn't have the trust of the team because he really did not pitch in any sort of leverage situation during the playoffs.
No,
Uh, Came in some very low leverage situations. So I don't think that he is going to be a guy that finds his way back onto the roster.
don't think so.
The next guy is a guy that was traded for in season, and that is Caleb Ferguson, another lefty arm out of the bullpen. He had his ups and downs, started off fairly good, and then had some bumps in the road, had some good innings in the playoffs as well. Do you think the Mariners are looking to bring back Caleb Ferguson?
I, I mean, they might because they didn't really give a whole lot for him. But again, I don't think so. I think when you I mean, I have an idea of somebody, but it's also somebody they've had before. But I don't think he did enough to come back. Like when you have Gabe Spire, right? You need another lefty that's gonna complement Gabe Spire instead of a guy who you're gonna be sitting there with a like, oh, is he on or is he off today, right? And that's kind of what I got out of Caleb Ferguson. Don't get me wrong, I liked his stuff. It's just he didn't compliment when he came in. It was a more nerve-wracking experience. So I don't think they're gonna bring him back, but it also wouldn't shock me if they did.
I don't think they'd bring him back unless it was kind of on a veteran minimum deal. Familiarity with the team could be a guy that they potentially could bounce between AAA if he's got some options left as well,
Hmm.
to kind of store there. and maybe hit the velo lab a little bit because he was one of, but when we traded for him, he was
Head
remarkably one of
scratcher.
the least hard hit guys out there.
Mhm.
Seemed like once he got to this team pitched in T-Mobile Park, which is pitcher friendly, seemed like that's where he was getting hit the hardest. So could see those underlying metrics not be a good fit for the team going forward. So there's technically only two more free agents,
Yep.
but there's one that we all think will be there. Polo Jorge Polanco was a guy that
Phenomenal year.
he hit his he hit his kick-ins, so it's a mutual option that turned into a player option for 6 mil for this year, and I think that Jorge is going to decline that. uh
Okay.
I'm sorry if I butcher the name, but I think it was the Gauge page or Jage page threw out something where they could potentially tack on an extension to his deal before he
Mhm.
officially declines the offer as an extension, which I think is intriguing. But ultimately, I think that a healthy Polanco coming off the playoff success is going to want to see what his market is. Do you think the Mariners could and should bring back Jorge Polanco?
100%. Because now you have a viable DH almost every day who, when Cal needs an off day, he plays second. That's just how it is. 100% bring Polo back. 25 dingers during the regular season this year. The most clutch hitter in baseball this year. Yes, bring Polo back. If you want to run this back, he needs to be on this team. I have been a Polo supporter since day one. Y'all have doubted me, said I've been wrong. Y'all called me a fool last year, and I told y'all it was coming. He was going to be back and better than ever, and he put together a fantastic season offensively. I think Polo comes back to this team. What do you think, coach?
The money's got to be right. The
I
Mariners are
think they'll do
always
him
going to be
justice.
playing with some constraints. I know that Jerry said that the Mariners starting point should be where they ended, and there's money that's coming off the books, obviously, and there's going to be some arbitration numbers that come in for guys that are going to be higher salaries than they were last year. I think that to be where they ended last year, you're looking at about 35 to 36 mil in cap room to put them at that spot. I think that if you can get Polo done for 9 to 10 mil a year, gives him that bump. I think with his injury history, and even this year, he got plagued with injuries a little bit earlier, and he can get hot and cold. If you're going to look at Polo to be your full-time DH, which I think is going to be the best spot for him, especially with Cole Young having his time in the big leagues. He's going to have a full offseason camp with the big league squad. And you also get Ryan Bliss back from injury, who broke camp with this team. I think that both of those guys give you better defensive acumen
Mhm.
than you get from Jorge Polanco. So he's kind of pigeonholed into that. And he's not that true masher like Kyle Schwarber, right? Who's going to get the
No.
big bucks. And but I do think that the Mariners know him. They took a chance on him. He had a similar deal on the table from the Astros. He decided to come back with the
And
Mariners,
yeah, he
even
bet
though
on
there was
himself on this
frustration,
team. Yeah.
right? All the way around. I do think that Polo finds his way back on because when he came to the team, Mitch Garver was the big signing that year, and then they traded for Polanco, right? And Polanco was regarded by Garver at the time as one of those big glue guys, right? And although you can't base everything on vibes, you can tell the Mariners are a better team than they are individual players, right? Do they
Mhm.
have great individual players? Yes, they do. But they complement each other so well and feed into each other so well. And you could say that about a lot of teams, especially when you get into playoff baseball and all of that. stuff. But this team just seems to be all about the team, and that comes from the stars of the team in Cal and in Julio and the entire
Mhm.
pitching staff. The entire starting staff is littered with guys right now that have made all-star teams. I mean, four of your five starters have participated in an all-star team at this
That's
point.
true.
And it's always pushing. Mooney is a guy that's pushing the team. Brash, like your big name guys are pushing the team. And I think that
Mm.
having Jorge Polanco as that sort of glue guy, that older head in
Yeah, and
in with this
and
team, I think is important in the long run.
I agree. I agree. All right, who's your next free agent?
The next one I think is the most obvious, but also the toughest at the same time. And that's
Yeah,
Eugenio Suarez, our boy Gino.
I love Gino. Don't get me wrong. I love Gino. Good vibes and good vibes only. There's never not a vibe around him. But the money isn't there for him.
I think that it's
I
tough.
think he does go back to Arizona.
I think it's very tough with Gino because he, after the trade deadline, he was very streaky. He's had his moments of being a good
Mm.
hitter at T-Mobile Park. And I think as he is getting older, that he's probably going to want to go somewhere where obviously
Former.
he can compete for a title, but also somewhere that's a little bit more hitter friendly.
Again, Arizona.
Yeah.
He enjoyed his time there.
And I think that there could be a potential down the road that you see another type of reunion. But I think with the dollars that he is going to command in free agency, that the Mariners are not going to be able to afford that, especially
No.
when they have an in-house option that played there, although the power numbers aren't there, but the defensive metrics are a lot higher with Ben Williamson. And potentially we have to throw this out
Colt
here.
Emerson.
Colt Emerson could be knocking on the door come spring training. I don't think that he'll be there. I think they want to season him a little bit longer in AAA.
But they did have him on the taxi squad for the CS.
He
So
wasn't going to touch it. I think that was another guy that they wanted around the team
sure.
in
But
that
they also
realm.
called him up to AAA and he performed
Mashed.
well there. Yeah.
Well, he
So,
hit better than he did in Double A, which Double A Arkansas is usually tougher to hit at, but
but he hit it well there.
he did
So
hit well there. So I think that you want to move guys along that are
they're
ready.
doing the right things with their minor league system right now.
I think the thing that is super tough when you look at the Cole Emerson thing as a whole is because he was a prep US player. Like you've seen the likes of Juan Soto, Julio Rodriguez, and even Bryce Harper kind of make that astronomical rise. But Bryce Harper was playing JUCO when he was 16, right? You,
Right.
Cole Emerson is like 2 years removed from playing high school competition.
20 years old, dude.
I think
Like,
that I think they want a little bit more seasoning. So,
that's
uh,
fair.
but I do think that with Gino, you're gonna have to give at least a 2 year deal to get him. He's not gonna sign a single year deal. If he would, I think the Mariners would be all over. But I think that Gino's still looking for a multi-year deal, 2 to 3 years in a more hitter friendly park. And
Mm.
like you said, his performance against the Jays in game 5 was everything this city needed and more.
But I also don't need a guy who hit under 200 after the trade deadline. And we got him because, you know, just the how he is. We love him, everything. But, you need a little more.
Well, you needed the pop in your lineup. You need a little extra pop in that lineup, right?
I
That's why you
think
went and got
he,
him.
I think he only hit 9 since coming till since he got here to the end of the year. I think he only hit 9.
Yeah, and then I believe he hit 3 or 4 in the playoffs.
Yeah, yeah,
So um, I don't think it's in the cards.
no.
The one that everyone is clamoring for is Josh Naylor, and the Mariners have said they want to bring him back. I think we can both agree that that should be priority number one, especially when you had to trade away in the Geno trade your in house option at first base of the future. You have Luke Raley, who's still ARB eligible, but with him not making the, I screw this up all the time,
The championship
the
roster.
ALCS, right? With him not being on that roster, I don't think that they're ready to roll with him. Granted, a lot of injury time missed this year. He can be a boomer bust guy, but I think they need to go in all in with Josh Naylor. I think that the
Agreed.
guys clicked with him super well. His ability to make the highlight play defensively in clutch time is big. I think that his ability to get on base and hit with power, and for some reason, EY knows how to get that guy to steal some bases.
Yeah. No, 100%, dude. Like, bring this dude back. I've said it. I've been screaming it from the rooftops to just hand him up. Like, check at this point. If Josh Naylor is not our starting first baseman, come opening day, the season's a failure.
I've seen some things out there. Chris
I don't,
Walker was a guy that they were linked to, right? And he
yeah,
signed a 3 year, $60 million deal with the Astros,
Astros, yeah.
but he was 34. You got Naylor, who's 30. Um,
29.
oh, he'll
29.
be 30 at the beginning of the next year, I believe. And so you got a few years younger. You have better bat to ball skills. So I think you're going to have to be in the
29.
22 to 24 mil a year range. And I
Hmm.
think that the Mariners should be in at 4 to 5 years.
I agree. I mean, basically, again, just give the man what he wants. I don't think it's gonna break the bank, but I he
It is going to eat up a
created,
big chunk of your off-season budget, though.
yeah, it is, but the amount of moments Josh Naylor made in the short amount of time in Seattle, like you have to bring that back. Have to.
And his ability to be clutch, his ability to go 0 to 1,000. It's not even 100. You know,
Yeah. He like integrated himself into Seattle, dude.
and he's a guy who says he loves hitting at T-Mobile, and the numbers show it. He
Yeah.
is the best hitter at T-Mobile Park. So I think yes, they've got to bring him back, and I think that is where this starts. I think that he wants to come back. I think that the players want him back. The org wants him back. The fans definitely want him back, and we're hoping that gets done early so that way we can start checking off some other boxes here as we go along. All right, Kane, do you want to start with? We're going to talk about free agent targets that we want to hit. Do we want to start with position
This
players or do we want to start with pitchers?
uh start with pitchers.
All right. Who are some pitchers that you would like to see the Mariners target and why?
One of them is Sir Anthony Dominguez. I mean, this is a dude that's been on the Phillies for a deep playoff run, in the World Series with the Phillies, in the World Series with the Blue Jays, is a free agent this fall. I think that this is a guy that another high leverage guy. They need somebody else in high leverage, right? Like there too many times in the playoffs you want Carlos Vargas, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like
I think the thing that could be tough with Sir Anthony is,
He's a high-end guy. He's gonna get money, but
yeah, I
it's
think he's in that second tier. So I think
sure.
that he might be priced out. And when you look at the Mariners, they're typically not spending big dollars on relievers.
Yeah.
I don't think that I think they've realized because the last couple of years they haven't had as much success with throwing them in the pile. Yeah, Bizardo's come out, but he was a guy that was a younger guy, not an older guy that
Mhm.
kind of worked his way into that leverage. Same thing with Spire. But when you look at the Mariners as a whole, they typically haven't went for big time splashy
Um,
money in the
no, I
reliever
get it.
game.
I get it. And I have one more. It's just he was with the Mariners, and I do think his stuff would complement Gabe Spire. It would be Drew Pomerantz. Still old, like gonna be 36 or 7 this
I
year.
think he's in like tier 3 or tier 4 in terms of where the money's going to go.
Sure. And I think like Drew Pomeranz jumped onto the Cubs and had a pretty good dang year for him. I believe he also pitched in the postseason.
He did.
So, like, give me
That's a guy
another
that
lefty,
I like
dude.
that call. I like that call.
You guys let him walk out the door. Like, we could have used Drew Pomeranz this year. And I think that would have been a great lefty. And I was talking about it at the beginning of the year. I was like, Drew Pomeranz made this team. I like that. And they didn't use it. Like I get you got Gabe Spire, and oh boy, do I love Gabe Spire. But they need a second competent lefty in this bullpen.
Yeah, I think Pomerantz could very much fit that role for the Mariners.
Yeah. That's all I got on the pitchers, though. I don't even look at starters because it's just unless they trade Luis Castillo and Kate Anderson is pitcher
He's not ready.
5.
He's not ready. It'd
I
be
understand that, but you know what I mean. Like, there's no reason to look at starters. We got that on lock right now.
all right. Relievers, I would look at. There's going to be a guy that I think, just like you, is a guy that pitched for this team in the past. Reliever.
It's, well, it's not who I think it's gonna be.
It's Luke Weaver.
Okay, yeah.
So I
Okay.
think with Luke Weaver, great year in 2024, not as prolific of a year in 2025. I think that he will be in that low second, higher third tier of dollars. I
Mhm.
think you can get him on a 2 year, $15 million deal,
Yeah.
7.5 a year.
I mean, there's a couple dudes that I don't think are gonna be back on this main squad come, next year. So these two like Pomerantz and I think were perfect signings for this.
But I do think that going getting a Luke Weaver type as a
Yeah.
guy that has thrown a lot of high leverage innings for a Yankees team that was in the World Series last year was completely dominant.
I
And
believe he's
then,
dominant in June.
yeah, and he faltered a little bit this year. I think he had like a 3.87 or 4 ERA on the year. So,
Mhm.
but a guy that I think can play well. His time with the Mariners, they were using him as a starter. Then he converted to a reliever full time with the Yankees. I think having him in that reliever role and being able to insert him into those mid to higher, build that trust up, but being that kind of where Carlos Vargas was, I think is going to be key to help bridge those innings. And I think that Luke Weaver
Yeah.
could do that and work his way into being a complement to a Matt Brash in the
Sure.
setup role.
Sure. Sure.
The other guy that I had, but he is, I believe, not a free agent. But if somehow they can get him on the cheap because he might be non-tendered or release, and I'm going to say it every year, it's Paul Sewald. Bring him home. Bring Paul
Bring
Sewald home.
him
He's been
home.
fighting injuries like crazy the last couple of years, but bring Paul Sewald home.
Fair. I'll take it.
All right. Hitters is where I think you're going to be swinging for the
I
fences.
have
And I'm
one. I have one. I have one. It's I have another player, but I do have one. It's Pal Tucker. I'm gonna beat the Lyle drum.
way to bury the lead and just go with your start
I
off
don't
hot and then
even.
let it go off the
Uh,
hill.
this is purely just fantasy. I think we've all heard it by now. It if it happens, dude, that's sick.
The Marine Layer's been calling for it for years.
Yeah, and it would be so awesome. Kyle Tucker is one hell of a player. His just offensive stats are insane. I think it would make a total improvement offensively, defensively, in right field. Just an overall great player. I understand he's on the Astros. He wasn't a part of the cheating scandal because he came after that. He's actually one of the more respectable ones. Performed very well for the Cubs this year. It's going to get a bonkers contract. Mariners aren't going to pay it. This is just hopes and dreams at this point. If you want to make a World Series push, go get Kyle Tucker.
Fair. I
That's
knew I
it's
knew
logical, right?
I knew you were gonna swing for the fences.
I do have a down to earth one though, and it's Willie Castro. I think a Willie Castro um fills your Dylan Moore role, right? Ultimate utility man. You can play him at practically every position. Preferably, I'd have him in right field or third. Um, but if you give me a Willie Castro on this team, I'd walk away pretty happy as well. Be a bigger boon offensively, I believe, and defensive versatility. Who are yours, Coach Ed?
I just have one free agent that I'm looking at. It's a guy that I've asked for the Mariners to trade for multiple times. Um, I believe that if you look at how the season ended, that you think that Cole Young and Ryan Bliss and Ben Williamson make this team. Ryan Bliss, we're going to still have to see how he comes back from the injury. But I think with this player, it eliminates the need for Miles Mastrobuoni and Leo Rivas. He's a guy that can play second base, shortstop, and third.
It's
He
IKF,
had
isn't it?
he had it's IKF Isaiah Kiner Falefa,
God damn it.
and I pounded the table for him.
He sure
He was
did.
he was a pest against the Mariners for the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
His ability to play multiple positions, he gives you a guy that's not it's a similar profile to Ben Williamson with a little bit more doubles and more positional versatility, right?
Yeah.
He's a guy that if you're needing to give time off to either Williamson or Cole Young, who would in this case be projected starters in the infield, and maybe they're slumping a little bit and need to hit the cages and have a few days off. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa can give you that. He can go play the shortstop position for you. And last year, he didn't hit as well with the Blue Jays as he did with the Pirates, but last year he still clocked in with the 275 average.
Yeah. You have been pounding the table for IKF. I'm not shocked.
He hits for average. And when you look at how this team is constructed, the weaker
Dude.
points of this lineup in the playoffs was 7, 8, 9. And
Yeah.
JP had his moments, right? He had a
Sure.
home run, he had the double against the Blue Jays, but Robles coming back from injury, he was not ready to play. You looked at what you saw with Dom Canzone, who, although he was hot and batted 300 on the year,
Postseason was bad.
he wasn't ready for the lights.
No, not at all. Not at all. His swing was early. Uh,
And then you were having to bat Leo Rivas.
and he had one moment in the playoffs.
He had a he smoked a couple balls against the Blue Jays, and then he had that wall ball single that JP didn't get the
Sure.
third on. But with Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, he gives you on base ability, and I think that the Mariners are always going to implore a super utility, right? They're going to have
Sure.
a guy that can play multiple positions. This is a guy that can handle majority of your infield spots,
I mean, he used
and
to be a catcher.
exactly, he's not going to catch anymore.
No, 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 no. He
But
hasn't caught in years.
when you look at how this team is constructed, I think that being able to have, if you were to have had Isaiah Kiner-Falefa on this team
Dude,
in lieu of Miles Mastroboni during the playoffs, and especially during that Toronto series, I think it could have went the other way.
and also, I believe he's a Gold Glove winner at multiple positions. I
Yeah.
believe he's a shortstop Gold Glove, and I believe he has like a center field Gold Glove.
I don't know how he gets moved around so much, but that's the guy that I've wanted to have on this
It's,
team since the Texas Rangers started shopping him oh so many years ago.
yeah, yeah. Is that really your only offensive guy outside of our own?
Yeah,
That's
that
crazy.
I think that they should go attack in free agency. I have a trade that is a lot higher profile
Do
guy.
you have a just a swing at the fence free agent? Come on, hit me with one. Go a little off script, coach.
I didn't. I've looked at a lot of the guys realistic. I looked at this through a realistic lens. And when I looked at the
Sure.
guys who are pending free agents that I don't think we're going to get the huge bucks, right? Um, because I do think you're going to see a little bit of a bounce back from Victor Robles having a full season to recover and a full off season to get back on track. So I was mainly
I hope
looking at
so.
infield where you're looking at multiple things. If you want me to throw a name out there, it's a guy that I hate and I don't think that they're going to do it.
Alex Bregman.
No, I'm not going to say Alex Bregman because that's never going to happen. It'd be
Yeah.
Glaber Torres.
Dude, Glaber would be fun on this team. I'm not gonna lie.
I think that
I
basic, if you go and sign Glaber to like a 2 year deal, you basically need to trade Cole Young because you have no intention of having him take over as the everyday second baseman.
yeah.
And I think that they have enough faith in Cole Young long term that I don't think they had the opportunity to go address that. And they went with Polo, who they were going to put at third base.
Yeah.
Right. So Cole Young and Ryan Bliss are the future of what they think second base is going to be. If they, during this early part of the offseason, what they saw at the tail end of the year, don't think that's the case, then yeah, go make a play for Glaber Torres. He's not going to break the proverbial bank. He's a pesky hitter. And I don't think
Yeah.
they're going to do it. But if you wanted me to give you a higher profile name than IKF, I'll give you Glaber Torres because I don't
That's
think that
fair.
they're going to attack the outfield via free agency.
That's fair. That's fair. Just my
Uh,
hopes
yeah.
and dreams are Kyle Tucker.
Do you have any trades that you'd be looking to swing?
I got one. And I do think that at the deadline, they are gonna not F around this year. And
I
I think
think
they're
I'm talking like off-season trades, not like mid-season.
oh
I'm talking during the off-season.
okay. Yeah, go get me Peter Fairbanks, dude. Or no, sorry, Pete Fairbanks. Dude, this guy's got a nasty slider, throws over 100. He's been a prominent reliever for the Rays. They love trading with the Rays, so why not add a little bit more into that? They're all gonna find their way back to the Mariners at some point, and let's just get the deal done. I think Pete Fairbanks coming into the year in this bullpen makes them instantly better. What do you got for a trade?
Let's get fun. I'll tell you who I'm giving up in the trade.
Okay,
I'm giving up Dominic Canzone.
fair,
I'm giving up Logan Evans.
fair.
I'm giving up
Yeah, Logan
Michael.
Evans becomes way more expensive. Michael Arroyo,
I'm
fair,
giving up Michael Arroyo.
fair.
And I I
As long as you
I
don't say
hold out
fallen.
to say that I would throw in Bryce Miller if they sweeten the not with Logan Evans. I would substitute
Uh,
Bryce for Logan Evans, but they would
okay.
need to sweeten the pot ever so slightly.
Okay.
And it's to go get Stephen Kwan.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. Right fielder. Yeah.
I put Stephen Kwan in right field. That puts Victor Robles as my fourth outfielder. It keeps
Yeah.
Randy on this team, and it gives you a true leadoff hitter. This is a
Yes.
guy that his power numbers ticked up. He is usually a guy that never hit over double digit home runs. I think he had 11 this year. He still his batting average did dip when he was trying to hunt the power a little bit more,
Mm.
but this was his down year and he batted 275. The guy
Yeah.
gets on base. When you look at your power alley, you're going to continue to have Julio and Cal batting in your 2 and 3 holes for years to come.
And
You want a guy that can get on base in front of them. And Stephen
yeah.
Kwan does that at such a high clip. He is a
It's been
gold glove
talked about.
caliber outfielder.
Yes. It's also been very talked about. Like I am so down with this trade. Like
And that was talked about like he was potentially on the table. Then they made the playoffs. And when you really look at that team as a whole, they have young position players coming up, but where they lack is in the pitching. So being able to give them a starter like Logan Evans and like I would say a Bryce Miller could be in contention there, but I would need a little bit more in return. I don't know
sorry.
exactly what that would look like right now. I would probably want a look at probably their fourth reliever thrown in on the deal. Don't know who that is right now, but they
Yeah.
need to sweeten the pot if I'm going to give up Bryce because I do think that Logan Evans, Emerson Hancock, and potentially Kate Anderson later in the year can fill that number 5 void. Plus, you also have, I think was it Pollard? Not Pollard. They had a pitcher that Taylor Dollard, who was absolutely dealing before he had Tommy John 2 years ago, was just coming back this year, was kind of looked at that next guy right behind Bryce and Brian Woo.
Hmm.
So you also have Ryan Sloan that
Yeah,
is
we
going to be
do.
coming up. You also have
Oh, oh.
Durangelo Cinche that could be coming up. I think that if you're going to make moves, the easiest one to I say this with easiest because you're not getting a perennial all-star. You're not getting that guy that's going to alter a lineup. I think that if you're going after that guy, then you're looking at a Logan Gilbert, George Kirby being the centerpiece on a team that has a plethora of hitting, that they suck at pitching, and you make something that's mutual for both teams. And it's not just going to be a player for player deal. There's going to have to be more coming back unless the guy's like an absolute young stud. Like, unless you're like, all right, Junior Caminero, he's not going to be playing there anymore. Okay, George, you got to go down to Tampa Bay. Sorry. But or if you're looking at like a J Ram, right? A perennial MVP caliber candidate. But I think with Bryce, with ups and downs, he was fighting an injury. You hope
Yeah.
that he comes back stronger next year because
And
you've
you
seen him at such a
also
high level. But
I mean, look what happened in the playoffs, dude. He was electric.
exactly. So I think that another guy, if we're looking at Mariners that have the potential to be dealt, I think that depending on how much money you want to spend in free agency, what kind of deals you can make. I think that there are some ways that some of these Mariners might not be on roster. I don't think that you can feasibly pay all 4 of your younger starters. You're probably going to get to a point,
Yeah, I think you can get three of them.
and I think that one of the guys that, unless Bryce goes in my hypothetical deal, right, that you're going to have to decide between Logan Gilbert and George Kirby.
And I
And I
think you
think your
choose
return
Logan.
for either of them is going to be huge. Or you could be looking at a big budget team that wants to go after Luis Castillo, right? would feel comfortable taking on that contract. You've seen what he's still been able to do year in
Hmm.
year out, what you saw him do down the stretch, and even in the first round of the playoffs was at a very high level. So
Hmm.
you could see people bank on that and still get a feasible piece back. You could be looking at a team like the Yankees that would make that deal. You could look at a team like the Mets that would make that deal. You're looking
Sure.
at a team potentially like the Phillies that could make that deal. Heck,
Or
you could even see the Reds jump back in and want Luis Castillo back and be willing to part with some of their intriguing offensive pieces. I
mm,
think that if that's the case and you can go spend your money on go get Kyle Tucker, right? If you do
yeah,
that,
dude.
then Randy Rosarena is not on this team somehow. He's still coming off an all-star year. He's coming off a big campaign, but you looked at how he fizzled down the deadline. I think
Sure.
that that's going to decline his trade value, but I still think that if you were trading Randy Rosarena right now, going into a contract year where he's going to want to play his best baseball, you're going to see the best form of Randy, I think, next year. So if
Sure.
you don't think you can stomach that number because the Mariners don't think that he's going to be that guy, I think that you can go get a guy that could be that 3, 4, 5 starter type from another team
Mm.
that has decent pitching but needs an upgrade on the offense.
Yeah, and when you touch on the pitching, I do think contingency wise and long term wise, Cal signed an extension, so Logan would. And I think that Logan Gilbert's your long term option. And I think that you can convince Bryce and Brian to go in at a reasonable rate because of how much they love working with Cal. George is his own guy. I respect George, but George wants to call his own game. And I think Cal just calls it because that's just how it is. But
Well, and I think that there could very well be a point where the Fantastic Four don't break up, right?
yeah, there's a
There's a real
definite
world
possibility.
possibility, but I think that there's going to become some point in time where the juice is going to be worth the squeeze, where you're going to have to make that move. And I don't know when that's going to be, and I don't know what pitcher it's going to involve, but I know that it's going to happen at some point, and you are going to get a haul for that player.
Yep, I agree. And it's gonna suck. It is gonna
I
suck when
don't
it happens.
I don't think that it happens this offseason. I think that if a pitcher does get dealt from the rotation, that it would probably be Luis Castillo with a team that is because the no trade clause is off the table now.
Hmm.
And if a team can stomach it and give you back a high impact player, you're not trading Luis Castillo for prospects. You're at least getting an MLB not ready player. You're getting a guy that has had some success in Major
Yeah,
League Baseball, or else the Mariners aren't going to make the deal.
yeah. Like it's gonna be a fair trade on both sides.
The other thing I want to point out is I was looking at ESPN today and they had their early 2026 power rankings. And obviously the Dodgers came in at number one. The Blue Jays came in at number two, and your Seattle Mariners came in at number three.
It's wild.
Do you want to guess who was second in the AL West for power rankings?
The
That's
Angels.
right. It was the Texas Rangers. And number three was the Oakland Athletics. And number four was the Astros. I think they clocked them in at 23 because they have an aging roster. They have guys that are on the table to get older. You've got Frambar Valdez, who is not getting any, like, he's a free agent. You're looking at an aging Christian Walker. You're looking at an aging Jose Altuve, an aging Carlos Correa. You have This is the time for the Mariners to go ahead and make that push and really go all in. The division is theirs for the taking. You've got with the Rangers, you're looking for them to have a lot of bounce back from their prominent players. With the A's, you're looking at the upside they have with some of that youth movement. When you look at Jack Wilson, not Jack Wilson. No, we'll get it later. Jacob Wilson, Nick Kurtz, Shea Langoliers. They made the trade to get rid of Mason Miller. They do have some intriguing pieces on that team, but the Mariners are built to compete now. They are built to compete in the future. They have a starting staff that was extremely banged up this year, and with better health, they're going to be at a better spot. You have some guys coming back from injury, like a Gregory Santos, that could factor into the back end of that bullpen. You do have that youth movement coming up. You've already seen Cole Young. I think that Laz could be on this team as early as 2027 in some form or fashion. You're looking at the likes of Sloan and Kate Anderson on the pitching side. You're looking at Ty Pete. You're looking at Johnny Formello. The Mariners are set to succeed for years to come. They were near the mountaintop. And it's very tough to say because when you look at this team, no one would have thought when you looked at 2001, you've got a rookie Ichiro. Yes, you have an older Dan Wilson. Yes, you have a steroid riddled Brett Boone. Yes, you have an older Edgar Martinez, right? But you have Mike Cameron on this team, an up and comer, a starting staff with Freddie Garcia, Aaron Seeley, Joel Pinheiro. You know, I think John Halama was on this team getting eaten innings, right? The bullpen of Kasaki, Shigetasi Hasagawa, Arthur Rhodes, Jeff Nelson. That team was older than this team currently is. So it's tough when you looked at 2001 and coming off the best record and saying, oh, there's no way they're not going to make the playoffs for 20 years. You were looking for them to be an extended run. But with this Mariners, they have such a good mix of high profile offensive players. They have a pitching staff and a younger, intriguing bullpen that they should be in the mix for years to come. And they should be making that push from the front office to complement what they have and accentuate those and fix some of the downfalls that we saw plague them at times and through the playoffs this year.
Great explanation, coach.
It was a long one.
Sorry, kid troubles. You know how it is.
I do. I do.
All
But that's
right.
going to wrap it up for
Yeah.
this episode. Um, Let us know what you think of our off-season plan. Some of the things we know that you guys are talking about, and I know that some of the things that we brought up today you're not talking about. So let us know what your plans are. You can do that over on social media. You can find me, your boy Coach Red, on X at the Real Coach Red, on Instagram at the Real _ Coach Red, TikTok at the Real Coach Red. Also find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and leave a comment or two. Kane, where you at?
Find me over on Twitter, Kane2406, TikTok, Kane0624. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. Falls. Do it, friggin' do it.
And as always, stay fresh.
Stay fresh. Peeps.
Peace.